In today's video, we'll continue the previous class, that is partnership. In the previous video, we explained the basics regarding partnership and some of the problems regarding the topic person partnership. So we'll continue the problems from the previous class. So I already told you that these are the basic terms involved in the partnership, that is investment, time period, profit. And based on these three terminology, we have one formula, that is profit is equals to investment into time period. If two persons are in the business, this will be the formula. And if three persons are in the business, this will be the formula. And there are some other conditions. According to the given conditions, this equation will varies. So this was a basic points which we already discussed in the previous class itself. Now we'll continue from the previous class where we stopped. So in the last class, I told you to solve this problem as a homework, and I hope many of you solve this problem. And let's see how we solve this question in a simplified manner or in a shortcut method. So let's read the question first. Sneha, Lekha, Rekha are the three partners in a business. So there are three persons which started a business. So what he gave Sneha, whose money has been used for 6 months, which means Neha invested her money for 6 months and she claims one-sixth of the profit. And Lekha, whose money has been used for 8 months. So Lekha has invested her amount for 8 months and she claims one-fourth of the total profit. And Rekha invested an amount of 4,200 for 10 months. So Rekha invested her amount for 10 months, and for that, for her the total investment if Rekha is given as 4,200. So what is asking in the question, then what is the contribution of Sneha to his capital? So we need to find the investment of Sneha. I hope you already solved or you already listened the previous example or previous problem. This is also the same similar kind of question. So if you have not come watch the previous video, try to watch that previous video. The same kind of problem or same model of problem I already explained in the previous video. And let's see the explanation here. So let us try to write the given data. So there are of three persons, Neha, Lekha and Rekha. So what he gave, Sneha is claiming one-sixth of the total profit and Lekha is claiming one-fourth of the total profit. I already told that. So we need to take the LCM of 4 comma 6. So the LCM for 4 comma 6, we can take it as either 12 or 24. So here I will take the total profit as 24 parts. Total profit here I will assume it as 24 parts. Or we can also take 12 also. There is not a problem. So what if Sneha is claiming how many parts? One-sixth of the total profit. So what is one-sixth of 24? So one-sixth of 24 is 4. And Lekha is claiming one-fourth of the total profit. So what is one-fourth of 24? It is 6. So okay, out of total profit, 4 parts have gone for Sneha and 6 parts have gone for Lekha. And what will be the remaining? So the remaining will be out of 24. What will be the remaining? So the remaining will be of not 8 here, it is of 14. And the time period, so the time periods of given as Sneha invested her amount for 8 months, Lekha invested her amount for 8 months, and Rekha invested her amount for 10 months. So 6 months, 8 months and 10 months. So we need to the investment ratio. So what we need to do for investment ratio, we need to divide this one, that is profit divided by time period. We will get the investments ratio, that is 4 by 6, 6 by 8 and 14 by 10. And if we simplify this equation, we'll get the ratio as 40 is to 45 is to 84. And in the question, Rekha's investment was given. Rekha's investment, what he gave? He gave Rekha investment as 84 parts. That will be equals to 4,200, which means one part will be equals to 50. Then what is asking us to find in the question? He asking us to find about Sneha's capital or Sneha's investment. So Sneha's investment is of 40 parts. So just now only we find that one part is of 50. Then 40 into 50, that will be equals to 2000. So okay, Sneha invested an amount of how much? So she invested an amount of rupees 2000, which is presented in option D. I hope you understand this problem. This is a similar kind of question we already solved in the previous example as well. Let us move to the next question here. Okay, here is the next kind of question. Here, X begins with a capital of, so X started a business with a capital of 3000, and 4 months later, so for the initial 4 months, only X was in the business with a capital of 3000. Later, 4 months later, Y joins with a capital of 2500, and then 3 months later, so which means from the start of business, if you take the from the start of business, Z joins after 7 months from the start of business. So he joins with the capital of 2800, and out of profit at the end of year. So at the end of year they got some profit. So here X is getting how much? 16 percentage for managing the business. So in the business only X is the working partner or managing business. He is managing the business, and Y and Z are not an active partners here. So for that, X gets some extra amount for managing the business, and after what when balance is divided according to their capitals ratio. If X gets a share of rupees triple A, then find the total profit. So the question is very simple. Try to analyze the question here. So try to write. So there are three persons. So here nothing was so as X is managing the business, so he was in the business for complete year. So third, he invested 3000 for 12 months, and Y came after the business 4 months later, which means he was in the business for only 8 months. So he invested 2500, and Z came to the business 7 months later, which means he was in the business only for 5 months, and he invested rupees 2800. If we simplify this one, we'll get the profits ratio. Profits ratio and 90 is to 50 is to 35. And in the question, he gave 1.5 for X gets 16 percentage for managing the business. So we need to give 16 percentage from Y to X and Z to X. So we need to give 16 percentage from Y to X. So what is 16 percentage of 50? 16 percentage of 50 is of 8, and 16 percentage of 35 is of 5.6. So this amount which we taken from Y and Z has to be added to whom? Has to be added to this X person. We do so. So add to X. X will be equal to how much? So 90 plus 80 plus 56. So now X is having 103.6 amount, and Y is having 42 parts, and Z is having 29.4 parts. So in the question he gave, X gets a share of rupees so triple eight. So which means this 103.6 parts, which will be equals to triple eight, which means one part, or we need to find the total parts. If you observe here also the amount was, or the number of parts was same, or profit was same, and here also the number of profits parts are same, which means there is no external amount is added in the business here. So whatever the profit we are getting here, that same profit they are distributing, but X is getting some extra amount as he is managing the business. That's it. So the total parts is of 175, and if we do this one also, that is 90 plus 50 plus 35. So 90 plus 50 is of 140. 140 plus 35 is of 135. So 103.6 parts will be equals to triple eight. Then 175 parts we need to find. So if we simplify that one, or if we do cross multiplication here, so we'll get 175 parts will be equals to how much? Which means here we are getting one part will be equals to 200. So or 2. So 1720. One part will get it as 20. So 175 into 20 will get it as 1500. So I hope we got the answer. So what is the total profit? Means the total profit is of rupees 1500, which is presented in option D. So try to read the question carefully, you'll get the answer. The only point differ here is X is getting some 16 percentage for managing the business. So we need to give that extra amount for that 16 percentage amount from the remaining 2%. We'll get the answer. If you haven't understand, please try to watch it again. You will get to know this basics. I already explained the same kind of example in the introduction class itself. So try to watch that video also. You will get a better clarity on how to solve this problem. Let us move to the next question here. And here is the next question. A and B are the two partners who start a business by investing. So A invested an amount of 25,000, B invested an amount of 35,000. So they decided to share the capital according. So decided to share the profit as depending upon their capital ratio. So but C joins on the business. So for initially only A and B are in the business. So they decided to share capitals on their investments ratio. That is, whatever the investments ratio present, on that ratio only their profits are distributed. But later some other person C joined the business on a condition that, so C joined the business with one condition. So what is that condition means? They will distribute the profit equally. So which means the profit has to be distributed equally. And for that C gives rupees 2,20,000 to A and B. So in order to share the profit equally, 1 in 1 is to 1 is to 1 ratio between the three-person, so C is giving some extra amount to A and B. So that extra amount he giving means 2,20,000. So what is asking in the question? Find in which ratio A and B will distribute the amount. So we need to find in what ratio that A and B has to distribute the amount. So let us try to analyze this question by step by one. So what are you asking the question? Initially only A and B are in the business. So A invested 25,000, B invested 35,000. And if you eliminate the common number present here, so A invested 5 parts and say B invested 7 parts. But this is not absolutely 5 is to 7 is not our answer. Why? Because after that some other, suppose the question was stopped up to this point only, you will distribute the amount in 5 is to 7 ratio only. But later some other person joined the business. So if we add this 5 and 7, it will be equals to 12 parts. The total, let us assume this total profit will be of 12 parts. Now not here, not two persons are present, here three persons are present. So that amount has to be distributed equally between the three person, that is 1 is to 1 is to 1 ratio. So if we distribute that amount, so each person will get 4 parts of amount. So initially, A has to receive 5 parts. Now, after giving some amount or after joining of C, so now A will receiving only 4 parts. And initially, B receives 7 parts of amount. But now he is receiving only 4 parts of amount, which means A is giving 1 part and B is giving 2, okay, 3 parts to C. And in order to balance, for that, what is giving? So, okay, see here. A is get 5 parts as he donated 1 part, so C will get 1 parts here, and from B 7 parts has to be, so he donated 3 parts to C. So the amount distributed from the among in the ratio, suppose, so the amount distributed in the ratio of 1 is to 3. So he gave 1 part here and he gave 3 parts. So what is asking, find in which ratio will distribute the amount. So for joining the business, so A, for joining the business, C gave some amount, that is 2,20,000 to A and B. So whatever the profits ratio has given to C, on that ratio only this amount has to be distributed. What is that amount? This 2,20,000 has to be distributed in what ratio? So whatever the number of parts given to C, that on that ratio only they has to distribute. So in 1 is to 3 ratio, this amount of 2,20,000 has to be distributed. Suppose if in the question find what is the amount received by B means, so what we need to find? So we need to find 4 parts will be equals to 2,20,000 and we need to find the 3 parts value. So the answer for this particular problem will be option B. I hope you understand this problem. It's a very simple question. All you need to understand the question. Suppose if this amount is not necessary, suppose if in the question if we give some X rupees also, we don't, this data will never change or this data will not change. Suppose instead of asking here the question find in which, find what is the amount received by B, means in that case this amount is needed for us for the for time being. This amount is not an this amount is not needed for us to find. I hope I understand. Let us move to the next question here, and here is the next question. So here A started a business with a capital of 54,000 and admitted B and C after 4 months and 6 months. So initially the business has started by A itself with a capital of 54,000. Later B joined the business 4 months later, and later C joined the business 4 months later, 6 months later, which means A was in the business for initial 4 months, and after 4 months B joined the business, and after 6 months, C joined the business. And at the end of year, they got a profit, which means B was in the business only for 8 months, and C was in the business only for 6 months. At the end of year, they got a profit. Okay, the profit was divided in the ratio. So at the end of year, they are dividing the profit in this ratio. That is 1:4:5 ratio. What is asking the question? What is the difference between the capitals invested by B and C? So we need to find the capitals invested by, or we need to find the difference between the capitals invested by B and C. So we have profits ratio and we have times ratio, and if we do that one, we'll get the investments ratio, and the investment regarding the person A was given. So from that data we can easily find the difference between the capitals of B and C. So this is same kind of question we already solved in the previous problems as well. So see here, I'm directly writing here. So profits ratio gave it as 1:4:5, and A was in the business for complete year, and B was in the business for 8 months, and C was in the business for 6 months also. And if we take the LCM of denominators 12, 8, and 6, that will get the LCM as 24. And if we simplify that one, we'll get it as 2 is to 12 is to 22. And again here 2 table was common. It will become what? 1 is to 6 is to 10. So what is asking the question? AI invested an amount of 54,000, which means this one part will be equals to 54,000. What we need to find the difference between B and C. The difference between B and C is of 4 parts. One part is of 54,000. Then 4 parts will be how much? So we need to find 4 parts value. 4 parts is how much? 4 parts is of 2,16,000, which is presented in option A. It's a very basic question. All you need to it is you need to remember the point, that is profit is equals to investment into time period, and accordingly you need to substitute the values here. So which is presented in option A. I hope you understand these problems, and let's move to the next question here. And here is the next question. A started a business with a capital of, okay, 1,12,000. After 2 months, B joined the. This is also very similar to the previous one. But in the previous question, it didn't mention the capitals of B and C. Now he mentioning the capitals also here. So B joined the business with a capital of 80,000 after another 2 months, which means from the start of 4 months. C joined with a capital of 72,000. After 10 months from the start of business, B withdrew 8,000 and C also withdrew 8,000. If B received rupees 9,800 as is said, then at the end of profit, then what is the total? So we need to find the total profit. So the profit of B is given. So the profit of B gave it as 9,800. So let us try to arrange the equation here properly. So A invested an amount of 1,12,000. So A was in the business for complete year, and later after 2 months B joined the business. So after 2 months B, so which means B was in the business only for 10 months, but here the one point was given here after 10 months, which means for 1 year, after 10 months from the start of business, which means for B it is only for 8 months. Why? Because he joined the business so 2 months later, which means he kept this 80,000 only for 8 months, and after that he withdrew 8,000. Now this 72,000 will be only for remaining 2 months. And similarly, C joined the business another 2 months later, which means effectively C was in the business only for how many months? Only 8 months. But he gave one point after 10 months from the startup business. He also withdrew 8,000, which means that is from the start of 6 months. So he invested 72,000 for 6 months, and after that he withdrew 8,000. After that, remaining 2 months he will left only for 64,000. And if we simplify this equation by eliminating the common numbers present here, so we'll get the ratio as 84 is to 49 is to 35. So this is the profit ratio. In the question he gave one point. B received a rupees of 9,800. So B received. So this 49 parts will be equals to this. We received amount. We received 9,800 as I said, and then find the total profit. So total profit is of 168 parts. This one part will be equals to how much? Okay, is something mistake happen here. So this 49 parts will be equals to 49 into 2000, that is 9, which means one part will be equals to 200. This means we need to find the 168 parts. The 168 parts will be equals to 133,600. So which is presented in option B. So the total profit of the three persons was 33,600. I hope you understand this problem. And these are the some questions regarding partnership topic. And now let us try to discuss some previous year questions or some recent year questions on partnership. And these are all the questions. Now whatever the questions we are discussing here, these are the very recent year questions which will appear on the competitive exams here. Let's see those questions also here. And here is the first question. If you understand the previous concept and previous problem, you will be able to solve these questions with an easy manner. So let us try to solve these questions here. A started a business with by investing 18,000. After 3 months, B joined the business with a capital of 24,000. So the same similar kind of problem we solved in the 13th problem as well. So after 6 months, 6 more months, C joined with a capital of 36,000. At the end of year, C gets a rupees of 12,000 as his profit. Then find the total profit. So the similar kind of problem we solved just now only. So if we do the same thing here, so A invest 8,000 for 12 months and B invest 24,000. So he joined the business 3 months later, which means effectively was in the business only for 9 months. And C joined the business 6 more months later, which means here 3 months and here 6 months, which means he joined the business 9 months later, which means effectively was in the business only for 3 months. If we simplify the common elements here, it will become what 2 is to 2 is to 1. And he gave the data related to C. So the profit of C gave it as, so this means this one part will be equals to how much? 12,000. So what we need to find? We need to find 5 parts. Well, one part will be 12,000, then 5 parts will be equals to how much? Then 5 parts will be equals to 60,000. That is 12 5 is of 60. So the total profit received by the three persons is of 60 60,000, which is presented in option D. This is a very recent question which was appeared in the SI mains exam 2023. So that's why I am taking the recent very questions also. Try to practice some questions or try to understand the basics regarding the topic before solving any problem. And if you are good at basics, you will be able to solve the problems in an easy manner. All you need to do is you need to remember the basics. And meanwhile, you can also share this video with your friends and family members. And if you have any doubts regarding these courses, you can also message to us or can also message to us on our support number or support mail ID provided here. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter platforms as well. Let's move to the next question here. Okay, here is the next question. This is also a very recent question also, which was appeared in the SI mains exam. A and B started a business by investing 48,000, 36,000. So initially A and B started a business with 48,000 and 36,000. After 6 months, C joined as a managing partner, which means A and B are only A and B are not an active partners here. So 6 months later, which means C joined after 6 months, which means C was the only active managing partner for the remaining 6 months only. Why? Because initially A and B were present in the business, so they were managing the business for the initial 6 months. After 6 months, C joined the business for the remaining 6 months only. C is managing the business. Try to remember or try to grasp that, remember that point here. So he invested an amount of rupees 72,000. So as he is a managing partner, he is receiving some rupees 500 as his salary from the annual profit for managing the business. So if you have, suppose there is one problem occurs. So C is managing the business for complete year or 6 months. Suppose if you think C is managing the business for 12 months. That is absolutely wrong. Why? Because C joined the business after 6 months later. Why means A and B are managing the business in the initial 6 months itself. So after 6 months only, C joined the business as a managing partner. So for that, C is receiving only 500 and per 6 months only. That means he received rupees 3000 as a salary for the 6 months. So C's salary came out to be 10 percentage of the annual profit, which means this 10 percentage will be equals to how much means this 10 percentage will be equals to this 3000. 10 percentage will be 3000, then 100 percentage will be 30,000. So the annual profit of this be 30,000. So what is asking in the question? So he asking us to find what is the share of A in the annual profit. So let us try to find one by one here. So A invested an amount of 48,000 for the complete year, and B also invested 36,000 for the complete year, and C invested 72,000 for only 6 months. So if we simplify that one, we will get 4 is to 3 is to 3. And here one point occurred. So C is getting some salary here for 30,000. So that is 10%. That 10% will be equals to 3,000. And that under total profit will be equals to 100% will be equals to 3,000 into 10, that will be 100% will be equals to 30,000. So now what we need to do, we need to deduct the salary of C from the total profit. So the total salary is of the total profit is of 30,000, and C is getting how many rupees here? 3,000. So this 27,000 has to be distributed in between A, B, C. So what is the total profit here? The total profit parts is of 10 parts. 10 parts will be equals to 27,000. What is asking the question? Then find the salary of or profit. Okay, it is not the salary of A, it is the profit of A here. So A's profit will be of 4 parts. So one part will be equals to how much? 2,700, and then 4 parts will be equals to 4 into 2,700. That will be equals to 10,800. So A will receive its profit as 10,800. Suppose if in the question what is the profit received by B means we need to find the 3 parts value. So here one part value will be of 2,700, and we need to multiply 2,700 and with 3, we will get some answer here. So we'll get the answer as 8,100 if we ask for B. So the answer is, so now the answer for this particular problem will be option C. I hope you understand this problem. Let us move to the next question here. Okay, here is the next question. Two persons A and B hired a field on a rent for rupees 1800. Next, A puts 9 horses for 7 months and 10 cows for 3 months, while B puts 10 cows for 5 months and 30 sheep for 10 months to graze in that field. In a day, 3 horses can eat as much as 5 cows, and in a day, 6 cows can eat as much as 10 sheep. Then what is the A's share? Then or we need to find the rent of A, or what is how much amount A has to pay. Suppose if you have a doubt here, sir, why you are discussing this problem? This not comes under partnership topic. Why you are discussing this problem means this is an application type of question. All you need to do is you need to apply the ratios topic here, and after that, whatever the points which were discussed in the partnership topic, that point we need to apply here. So sometimes in the exams also you'll ask some application type of question, so we need to remember the concepts basics as well. So first what we need to do is we need to simplify this equation here, this point. In a day, 3 horses, which means 3 horses that will be equals to 5 cows, and 6 cows will be equals to 10 sheep. So horse to cow that will be equals to 5 is to 3, cow to sheep that will also be equal to 10. Okay, 10 is to 3, 10 is to 6. If we simplify that one, it will also become 5 is to 3 only. So the combined ratio of horse to cow sheep will get it as 25 is to 15 is to 9. So that is a one day, or how much amount it can eat on the in the grazing in the field, or how much each sheep or each horse or each cow can eat, how much grass in that field. So that is 25, 15, and or we can also find out it is the efficiency of that those. Next, what we need to do, we need to distribute or what is the amount has to be pay by A, or how much is the amount pay by B. So what is given the question? So 9 horses grazing in the field for 7 months. So each horse can eat how much amount food means, so it can eat 25 parts plus 10 cows for 10 months, 10 cows for 10 months, and each cow can eat 15 parts. So that is for A, and for while for B, he put 18 cows for 5 months, and each cow can eat 15 parts plus 30 sheep for 10 months, and each sheep can eat 9 parts. And if we simplify this equation, we'll get it as 45 is to 90. So if we simplify this one, 45 ones and 45 twos get cancelled, it will be equals to 1 is to 2. This means 3 parts will be equals to 18. Why? Because both A and B hired a field for rupees 1800. So 3 parts will be equals to 1800. And what he asked in the question, find the share of A in the rent. So A has to pay one part of amount. This means one part will be equals to 600. So A has to pay an amount of rupees 600 in the total amount of 1800. Suppose if in the question, what is the amount, what is the share of B means, share of B is nothing but 1200. So now he asked about what is the share of A. So share of A is nothing but 600 rupees. So which is presented in option B. I hope you understand this problem. These are the very basic level of questions. All you need to do is you need to understand the concept clearly and then apply the or read the question carefully, whatever the point or whatever the data given in the question, and you need to substitute the data given accordingly. You will get the answers. Let's come to the next question here. And here is the next question. A and B entered in a partnership by investing an amount of 32,000 and 24,000. After 3 months, so 3 months later, what happened means A withdrew 10,000 and while B invested 10,000 more. So after 3 months, out of 32,000, A withdrew 10,000 and B invested 10,000 more. From then thereafter 3 more months, C joined the business, which means she joined the business 6 months later or 6 months from the start of business with a capital of 42,000, which means she was in the business only for remaining 6 months. So if the total annual profit is of 26,400, then what is then in that profit of B exceeds that of C by. So we need to find the difference in profit of B and C. So let us try to arrange the question here. And if we arrange the question here, so we are writing the both the profit and investment here. So initially A invested 32,000 for 3 months, and later what happened means he withdraw 10,000. So now he has only 22,000 for the remaining 9 months. Next later what happened means initially B invested 24,000 for the 3 months. After 3 months what happened means he invested 10,000 more. Which now initially he is investing 24,000. Now he is investing 34,000 for the remaining 9 months. And later 3 more months later, which means from the start of business means from the start of 6 months business, C joined with a capital of 42,000 and for the he invested this amount for the remaining 6 months. And if we simplify this equation here, we'll get the ratio as 7 is to 9 is to 6 here. And now we eliminate the by 3 table or 4 table or 2 table. Whatever the common multiple present here, if we simplify that one, we'll get the ratio 7 is to 9 is to 6. In the question what he gave, the total annual profit is of 26,400. So here the total profit is how much? 7 plus 9 plus 6. 7 plus 9 plus 6 is of how much? 22 parts. That 22 parts will be equals to how much? 26,400, which means one part will be equals to 1200. And what we need to find, the profit share of B exceeds that of C by. So what is the difference between B and C? The difference between B and C is of 3 parts. Just now only we find that one part will be equals to 1200 and then 3 parts will be equals to 3600. Difference between B and C is of 3 parts. So 3 into 1200 and that will be equals to 3600, which is presented in option A. And let's move to the next question here. Okay. A person here started a business with an investment of 3 lakhs. So A started a business with a capital of 3 lakhs. And a second person B joined A afterwards with a contribution of 4 lakhs. And if at the end of year the profit shared equally, so the profit is shared in the ratio of 1 is to 1 year. So what is asking the question, after how many months B joined the business? B joined A. So this is also very recent question which was asked in TSSI 2022 year. Let us try to analyze here. So A invested an amount of 3 lakhs for complete year, whole year, and let us assume B invested 40,000. It was given in the question. Let us assume that he was in the business for X months, and that he gave that profit is distributed in equally, which means the profit has to be distributed equally in 1 is to 1 ratio. And if we arrange this equation here, this all the zeros and all zeros get eliminated, which means 3 into 12, that will be equals to 4x, which means if we simplify that one, 4 ones and 4 threes get cancelled. So x will get it as 9 months, which means here x value we are getting it as 9, which means B was in the business only for 9 months, which means the business was run for 1 year, but B was only in the business for 9 months, which means that B joined the business 3 months later. So B joined the business after 3 months, which means 12 minus 3, that will be equals to 3 months. So B joined in the business with A after 3 months from the start of business. So the answer for this particular problem will be option C, that is 3 months. Let us move to the next question. Okay, this is also a very recent question asked in TSSI 2022. There are of 3 persons A, B, C started a company, contribute a total of P rupees. So these 3 persons are investing some P rupees. We don't know what is that P value. That is the value we need to find here, I think. So A contributes 50,000 more than that of B, and B contributes 50,000 more than that of C. So he gave one condition here. A invest 50,000 more than that of B, and B invest 50,000 more than that of C. If in the contribution A, B, C, so okay, the investments ratio are given as 8 is to 7 is to 6. Then find the value of P. We need to find the value of P. Before finding that one, so let us assume C invested an amount of X rupees. So B contributes how much rupees? 50,000 plus X rupees. And A contributes how much? 50,000 plus 50,000 plus X rupees. So if we arrange this equation here, okay, investments ratio gave it as 8 is to 7 is to 6. So what he gave in the question, difference between B and C and the difference between A and B is of how many parts? 50,000. So the difference between A and B is also one part, and difference between B and C is also one part. So that one part value gave it as 50,000. So what we need to find, what is the total value of P? So here nothing was mentioned about the time period. So the time period was a constant one. So if time is a constant one, profits are distributed according to the investments ratio only. So we need to find this 21 parts value. That one part is just now only we find that 50,000. That means 21 into 50,000, that will be equals to 1 lakh 50,000. So which is presented in option A or option 1. So directly we are getting the answer as a P value as 1 lakh, okay, 10 lakh 50,000, presented in option A. Some may have get confused, sir, why you are not considering this part of equation here? Just now you can see here, he gave the data here. A contributes 50,000 more than B. So the difference between A and B is of 50,000 only, and the difference between B and C is also 50,000. And the investments ratio also given here. Difference between A and B is also one part, and difference between B and C is also one part. So that one part is nothing but 15,000. So indirectly I am using that this statement here only. So we are getting the answer as a P value as 10 lakh to 50,000, which is present in option A. So this is about some questions regarding partnership topic. So let us brief the things here. So we started a topic called partnership, and after that we gave some introduction regarding partnership topic, and after that we introduced some basic terminology regarding partnership, investment, capital, time period, and profit. After that, we have a basic formula: profit is equals to investment into time period. And later we'll discuss some examples regarding partnership topic, and we'll solve some of the questions regarding partnership topic. And we also covered some very recent year questions on partnership topic. I hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll meet in the next video or next session with some other exciting content. Have a good day. We'll meet in the next video.